Hello, it's Friday Night Live, and I am Texas Beach Mom or Mama Robin, whichever you prefer. And as usual, we're going to talk about um, the one thing I keep talking about on Friday nights, or most Friday nights, the mysterious deaths at Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas. Um, I did cover, I talked about this last Friday night, and I did cover a little bit about it on Wednesday night. Um, kind of told what I was going to be doing. So, for a recap, for those of you who haven't followed it well enough, the recap there have been 16 deaths in Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas. Good evening, Darlene. I'm so glad you joined us tonight. Um, and you asked me to do it at 9 o'clock, and here I am at 9 o'clock. So, damn, I'm doing good today. Anyhow, um, so there has been the 16 deaths at Lady Bird Lake, and it's just an awful lot. Now, I have good news about the channel. Not great news, good news. Um, I started an account with StreamYard a couple of hours ago. Yay! And I've been playing with it, trying to figure out how to make all the things work. Like how to, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had running to do today. I had errands to run, and I was in a good mood. So I got dressed up a little bit, fixed my hair, put a little makeup on, sweater, jeans. Felt like looking like a presentable person today. So thank you. But I got a StreamYard account, and I been working on it the last couple of hours, trying to figure out how to download the YouTube clips, how to find them in the files, how to upload them to StreamYard, this and that, the other. So hopefully by next Friday night, fingers crossed, we will have videos. I'll be able to pull clips up. Yay! In the meantime, I do have a few things for tonight. Like I said, there's been those 16 deaths, and I can't on my own, I can't seem to find enough information. But if I go into YouTube, I can find several videos on it. But for some reason, even with the videos that are out there, nobody seems to be paying any damn attention to this thing. And as I said Wednesday night, and I think I said it last Friday night, there's this guy by the name of Ford Sanders. He is a journalist. He used to work for KView, which is ABC. KView in Austin, Texas. I've watched it a few times. He's quit KView, and he's still being a journalist, but he's doing it like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel. I went and found his YouTube channel tonight. I have sent him an email. I haven't heard back from him yet. I'm gonna give him till Monday. If I haven't heard back by Monday, I will try again. I'm gonna keep trying till I get a hold of him. I mean, I went and looked at his Instagram posts, and he looks like he's most of his posts are his personal life, like hanging out with his friends and whatnot. He looks pretty young. I didn't look up how old he was. I did double check it though. He did work for KView. There's Instagram reels with his KView shirt on, and in his suit and stuff in front of the KView thing. So he is a TV journalist. I've done some research on him to make sure he was legitimate. Hi, Jody. Welcome. We're going back to the Lady Bird Lake thing. So I've done some research on him. I'm trying to get a hold of him. I really, 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 really want some time. If he would give me 5 minutes of his time, I really would like it. But at this point, as I said, he hasn't gotten a hold of me yet. I'm going to keep trying. There's also a couple of people. There's one guy that was hanging out with one of the guys that disappeared and died. And then there was another guy that's actually a survivor. of the attacks. So I'm working on getting a hold of people. So, like I said, I've got StreamYard. I started that, worked on that a little bit this evening. Um, I'm trying to figure out all the things you can do with StreamYard. I'm trying to figure out how to get YouTube videos into live streams on StreamYard. I know it's got to be easier than I'm making it. It probably is, and I just haven't figured it out yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting better at this. So, because because I am who I am, and I want people to know more about this case, I'm going to play a video from my phone, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. Let me know if you guys can see it, if you can hear it, like whatever the thing is. Let's see if I can get this played because it's a Instagram.
Yesterday, Friday, December 20th, a 16th body in the last 2.5 years was pulled from Austin, Texas's Lady Bird Lake. But let's run through this timeline over the last 2.5 years. If you're new to my page, my name is Ford Sanders. I'm a journalist based right here in Austin, Texas. I moved here in October of 2022. And since then, that's when things have really started to pick up a lot of media attention. Just so many bodies being found in Lady Bird Lake. And many of you are asking for me to do a little bit of a recap. So my friends over at the Austin American-Statesman have a really good running list about, unfortunately, the victims that have been recovered from Lady Bird Lake. We'll start with Ricky Parks in July of 2022. This sort of kicked it off in the sense of Ricky's body was seen floating. As a 59-year-old male, he was just seen floating in the water, and police got there. They suspected no foul play involved. That investigation's now been closed, but there's really not a lot of information about him. All right, so we have Christopher Gutierrez, Joseph Moreno, and Kyle Thornton. Those were all within about 20, 25 days of each other. Those 3 deaths happened in December of 2022. That's when I was here, and I remember covering those back to back to back. Christopher Gutierrez and Kyle Thornton, it's a similar deal. There's just not a lot of information. No foul play was suspected, and we've moved on from those investigations, unfortunately. Joseph Moreno is a really interesting one. There was some clarity and an arrest even made in that case. When it comes to Joseph Moreno, he was an older gentleman. Allegedly, there was like a dispute happening between, I think, like 18-year-olds, like young 18-year-olds from rival gangs. And long story short, it's not clear how Mr. Moreno got involved in this. Some believe he was just driving by, and as he was driving by, these people shot at his truck. He went right over the guardrail and right into the water, and he was found in the water dead in his truck. That one actually, like I said, did end up in actual charges and convictions and people being, held responsible for this murder. Okay, but now come the cases that really started to shift it all here in Austin, Texas. I'm waiting to look at Jason John. Jason John's body was found about a week after he went missing in February of 2023. We actually do know a lot more about this case. We have now gotten the medical examiner report that it was alleged that there was a bystander that saw him throwing up in the water, and then they left to go get help. But by the time they came back, he already was in the water. He was actually out celebrating a promotion, it was, of some sort. He was just out with friends, like a normal night, wasn't too drunk, his family has said, and people around him have said. And so it's a really interesting situation because he was also found about a week later in a similar spot where he went in, right there near Rainy Street and Lady Bird Lake. He was actually out on Rainy Street that night. Well, then you have Clifton Axtell and Christopher Hayes Clark. Unfortunately, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record because that's what the problem is here. There's not much information. They were also ruled no foul play. Those investigations were closed. It's hard. It's hard for people to understand because even me sometimes I'm like, there's not a lot of information for us to work with. So what is going on down there by that lake? All right, let's get to Jonathan Honey in April of 2023. Keep in mind, that's just about 2 or so months after Jason John went missing. Jonathan Honey fits a similar description. He's in his 30s. He was actually visiting from somewhere in the Maryland area, I think not far from DC, but he was on a bachelor party. It was said that Jonathan was with his friends. He got separated. I believe they said he went to go find food or something like that, but Jonathan got separated from his friends and he went missing that night, and he was also out on Rainy Street that night as well. Moving on from that, you have Mogo Dogal in June of 2023, and then look at this. In 2024, you've got an unidentified female, and then you just have 2 unidentified persons. We never even found out who these people were, unidentified. So it leaves a massive question mark as to what is going on down there by the lake. So those 12 deaths were where we started back from 2022 to now. Like I told you, we're now at 16 deaths. We've had a couple people, I believe that one of those 13 or 14 deaths was actually someone unaliving themselves, unfortunately. But then you had, just at the beginning of this month, on December 1st, a woman that was a homeless woman who was said to have trying to stay warm. She was trying to get warm. I don't know how that meant she ended up in the lake, but her body was recovered. I believe she was 73. And then we're caught up to where we are yesterday. Yesterday was the 16th body in 2.5 years. Still not much information on that gentleman, but his body was found. I think it was about noon is when the call came in, when they responded. But it was right there also at Lady Bird Lake. This one was not far off of that South First Street Bridge. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, and I know it's a lot of, okay, so what do you even know? But that's the problem. We don't know much. And I think that's why a lot of people have a lot of anxiety surrounding all of these deaths happening at Lady Bird Lake, because there's so many untied and loose ends, and it's just wild. And yeah, these deaths have not just started in the last 2 years. For example, Martin Gutierrez was a 25-year-old, and I've talked with his family, pretty in depth. I had his sister-in-law on my podcast that talks about these deaths, and he died back in 2018, and they do think something happened to him. I mean, he had a contusion on the back of his head, and again, investigations get closed, not much information. It's definitely eerie. Yesterday, Friday, December 20th,
Okay, so that's the information that he has that I've seen of him. Now, he does have his own YouTube channel where he's doing a really in-depth deep dive on this particular subject. That's what I said. That's why I started a StreamYard account today. I've been playing with it the last couple hours, trying to learn how to use it, trying to get things done. I'm going to use the old lady card. I'm old and I don't know what I'm doing. That's kind of true. But I'm learning. I'm forcing myself to learn this. I want to start bringing up video clips, and I want to start being able to show more and do more. It was an Instagram reel. He's got Instagram, TikTok. He's got a YouTube channel, and I really, really want to talk to him. Like, I really want to talk to him. I want to pick his brain. I read some of the comments. There were some people picking on him. And it's social media, so everybody's gonna get picked on. Somebody was picking on him because he looked too young to be a reporter, which I kind of get that. Then when you see pictures of him in his suit and in the KVU studio and stuff like that, you're like, okay, he doesn't look like as much like a kid anymore. Something about putting on that suit, I guess. I don't know. There's a couple other people I want to pick their brain. Mostly him. If I can get him to respond to my emails and talk to me for a few minutes, oh, that would be great. That would be great. I would be happy. Because I personally believe there's something going on. There's either a serial killer killing people down at there, or there's a serial killer killing people and dumping them in Lady Bird Lake. I think it's more likely they're being dumped there. But there's a total of 16 people. I remember mentioning before it was a 73-year-old woman. Now, I had heard it was a Hispanic woman, but it wasn't. I do believe she was Korean. So I don't know where they got Hispanic and Korean, but and like he said in his little clip there's just not a lot of information on these deaths. You would think there would be more information. Families have gone to those city council meetings. They've begged and pleaded. They've been like, look, my brother or my uncle or my whoever, they did not do this. They didn't fall into the lake willingly. They didn't kill themselves. They didn't do whatever. Something happened to them. And the one guy that he was talking about, the Martin Gutierrez, his brother said, my brother had contusions on the back of his head. So, and they thought it was an accidental drowning. So let me ask you something, Austin Police. If he had contusions on the back of his head, how was that an accident? I mean, seriously, that would be my question. How is that an accident? Like I said, that went really quick. I might pull up another video on my phone since that went okay. Like, you could see it and you could hear it. If you couldn't see it, you couldn't hear it, you need to tell me in the comments. I might pull up another video. Now, I probably will play the whole video, but for copyright reasons, I will break it up and talk over it. But there's another video I want to pull up. Um, and now it doesn't have a full list of the victims. It doesn't. It's an older video. Thank you for letting me know. It's an older video. It doesn't have a full list, but it kind of gives you a better idea of what we're faced with. You know what I'm saying? So hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll just until I figure out how to work StreamYard and get damn videos over here, I'll use my damn phone. I'm stupid, but damn. So hold on. Because aha, Lady Bird Lake serial killers.
All of these are purposeful. Something is going on in Austin, Texas, and nobody's talking about it.
I gotta get
There's
the
a
phone this way.
mystery in Austin
This way.
involving the deaths of at least 11 men and a lake, leading some to fear there's a serial killer walking among them.
Luckily for me, I think if I had hit the water, I may not have ended up surviving.
That man lived to tell his story and wants answers, along with countless families missing their loved ones. An Austin police homicide sergeant is here to answer my questions.
Just over the years, there's deaths that happen in and around the water. Sometimes they're shootings, sometimes they're drownings.
Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Since 2022, the bodies of 11 men
Anjanette
and a
Levy.
woman have been found in Austin's Lady Bird
Where
Lake.
else do I know her
The
name
lake,
from?
named for former First Lady Lady Bird Johnson, is beautiful. It's a crown jewel of the Lone Star State's capital city. But the loved ones of many of the men whose bodies have been pulled from the lake feel the lake may be holding a secret. Even more bodies have been found in the lake over the years, including the body of Martin Gutierrez in 2018. Here's his brother, Mitch.
Martin, such a good kid. He was a little bit younger than me. He's like 6 years younger than me. Such a happy individual, very optimistic, painfully optimistic. He's such a great person. He went to Texas Tech, graduated, and such a happy individual.
Okay, we're going to pause that for a minute and come back to it. He is one of the people I've seen clips of on many different interviews. He has gone to city council. He has gone everywhere. He's talked to everybody that listened to him. He has said beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is no way. Hi. Hello, Paula. Welcome. I'm not that far into it. I missed a little bit. We're talking about Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas. The mysterious deaths. So his brother Martin Mitch has been talking about how his brother didn't, it couldn't have been an accident. He was talking about how on the security cameras and stuff, how he only had 2 drinks. Okay, and this is a kid that graduated from Texas Tech. He's used to partying. He's a college, he was a college kid. He's used to drinking. 2 drinks ain't enough to make him loopy. 2 drinks ain't enough to make me loopy. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, he was talking about how this kid only had like 2 drinks. His brother only had like 2 drinks. And when he went into the bar, he was fine. When he came out, he just looked loopy and he looked disoriented and he just wasn't himself. And he's like, there's no way my brother staggered all the way down to Lady Bird Lake and just fell in. Like, this is not happening. So, he's just one of many people that have been interviewed. And as I was talking about Wednesday, there is I was talking about this Wednesday. Now I can't remember a damn thing that I was going to say. I hate getting old. It's not good for you. I don't recommend that. It's not. It's out of 10. It's a 0 out of 10. I don't like it. One of the people interviewed, and now I can't remember a damn thing. All right. Well, you know what? I'll go back to talking about it. And if it crosses my mind again, we'll cover it. Him, among many other people, are saying things like, my brother wasn't that messed up. There's no way my brother did this. I talked about that one guy. Now his case is a little older. It was before the 16, but it was a couple of years before the 16. But the one guy that was found with his eyes taped shut and his mouth taped shut and his legs taped together, his feet taped together, his ankles, and his hands taped behind his back, and he had bruises and contusions and all kinds of shit. And the police told his family that he unalived himself. Um, so there's something going on. Like there's definitely something going on down here. Um, and Austin is a big party area. We're known as the live music capital. I mean, there's lots of clubs, lots of parties going on down here. And I personally feel like that if it's being swept under the rug, that's why. That they don't want to lose that revenue, that tourist money coming in. They don't want to risk that. So they're keeping this swept under the rug. They're keeping this hush, hush, hush. But 16 people in 2.5 years now. There's been a couple. There was one or two that were actually unalived, and there was one. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I like this better than the lighter blonde I was doing over the summer. I think I might keep it this color. But there was and I lose my train of thought easy. That's not your fault. This is me. I lose my train of thought easy anyway. Thank you. Like I said, I had errands to run today, so I wanted to get out of the house, look like a normal person. But there's just all kinds of things going on with these people. And I get them. Okay, hold on. I want to say this correctly. I don't agree with them keeping it hush hush. I don't. The public has a right to know. On the other hand, from a city standpoint, and worried about tourism and revenue and all that, I kind of get what they're doing. I didn't say I agree with it. I look at it from a city point of view. I think they should tell the public, but again, I kind of get why they don't, because from their point of view, from their perspective, they don't want to lose that revenue, that tourism. And while this example that I'm about to give you is not a good example, but in the movie Jaws, when the shark ate the girl, the sheriff knew about it. He wanted to close the beaches. And then the mayor said, no, you're not going to close the beaches. You're going to let all these people come in over 4th of July weekend. We're going to continue to party and have a good time. And then the sharks attacked and ate a bunch of people. Granted, it was a movie, but it's kind of the same thing here. So that's what I think Texas is doing. I think Austin is being like, no, we're not going to do this. So let's continue with the video I had. If I can pull it back up again. Yeah. Okay. See if we can get this.
Of his brother getting a little grossed out by seafood. Neither one of them liked it. Mitch and Martin lived together. He remembers vividly that day in 2018 when he realized that Martin was missing.
Him and I were a victim of routine. We went to the gym, like 6 days a week. So whenever I got off of work at 2:30, I'd come home, clean the house, or whatever, and then he'd get off of work at 5, and then we'd go to the gym. Like we had a set routine that we did all the time. And I texted him, I was like, hey man, where you at? And he was very dependable. He never missed a day of work. He was, always there, very predictable. And he didn't answer. And then we called his work, and he didn't go to work, which was unheard of. So we called around, called the buddies he was with the previous night, and they said that he had just left, and they didn't know where he was. And then so we called around, and I was like, well, maybe he's at his girlfriend's house, and he wasn't there. So we knew something was immediately off within like an hour of not making it to the gym. I knew something was off. And then the next day I went to like local hospitals, like Seton facilities, St. David's, asking around if there were any John Does that were found or brought to their facilities or anything like that. And there was nothing.
Mitch
It was,
Gutierrez
wasn't it?
filed a police report and started searching for Martin as any family member would do. He remembers what Martin's friends told him about the night that he vanished.
So it was a Sunday night. He went out to go meet up with some buddies that were just watching Sunday night football out there on Rainy Street. They went to one bar. They weren't there very long. Then went to another bar called Luster Pearl. From Luster Pearl, my brother was perfectly fine. And then he went to the bar next door called Alibi. By the time he made it to Alibi, he could barely even stand. He was slurring his speech. According to my friends, they were like, well, what's wrong with Martin? Like, it's not him. And I know my brother through and through. We'd go out all the time. We'd drink. And what I saw in that footage that the bar owner let us see, that wasn't him. I don't know what was going on, but from one moment he was okay, and then he wasn't. And so, unfortunately, with the bar, there's an inside area, and then you go to the back area where the bathrooms are, and then you can actually exit on the outside, which is what he did. So the buddies that he was with didn't even realize that he was gone. They figured, oh, he went to the bathroom or whatever, and then they texted him after, like maybe 10, 15 minutes, like, hey, where you at? No response.
Mitch Gutierrez went to bars looking for surveillance video as he tried to find his brother. He doesn't have video from inside the bar, but he recorded video on his phone that showed Martin walking outside of the bar.
Wish we could see this better. I'm sorry. We're going to get this figured out. Give me time.
Looking at his phone.
The video is the last time that Mitch would ever see Martin alive. So do you think somebody spiked his drink or something like that?
I do. The behavior I saw from a kid that I've known my entire life, and seeing that wasn't him. I don't know what it was. Now, I know they did a very generic talk screen. They don't look for like the date, rape, drug, and all that, Rufalin and all this other stuff. Like they only looked for like alcohol and THC, cocaine, all those other ones, which everything was unremarkable because we don't do drugs. The only thing he had in his system was alcohol. But what I saw in his behavior, my brother was a very stocky guy. Like I said, we went to the gym all the time. And when he exited that bar, he was like frolicking. It was weird to see his behavior that way. It wasn't him at all.
Martin's body was found 7 days later in Lady Bird Lake. An autopsy revealed that Martin had drowned. The medical examiner labeled it an accident.
He had water in his lungs, but on the autopsy report, he had a large contusion on the back of his head, in the occipital region of his head. And I just find it hard to believe that, this kid was like the best swimmer in the world, but swimming aside, like it was like 20 degrees. There was no way he would ever hop in that water or whatever. They said it was an accidental drowning. There was no way. Like there's no logical sense for him to be anywhere near that water.
Mitch Gutierrez fears that someone harmed his brother, and he's not satisfied with the answers he was given about his brother's cause of death.
I'm in the medical field, not to say I'm an expert in autopsies and whatnot, but I'm an ICU nurse practitioner, and dead people don't bleed. So if you have a large contusion on the back of your head, that means you were bruising. That means you had to have time to bruise. Dead people don't bleed. And he had a contusion on the back of his head. They said, well, maybe he hit his head when he fell in the water. Well, if he fell, hit his head in the water, drowned, he would have never had a contusion on the back of his head.
I want to take just a moment to tell you about an amazing lip plumper and proud sponsor of Crime Fix called City Lip.
Hit his head in the...
So that's another case like we were just talking about. And this video is only 24 minutes long, so we'll probably end up finishing it in bits and pieces, but I'm mind blown that with all these people that have died, 16 people in 2.5 years, like I said, 2 were they unalived themselves, and 1 was shot. But that's still 13 people in 2.5 years. That's and then there was the 73-year-old woman at the beginning of December. Okay, now she was supposed to have been a homeless woman. Okay, we know more about her now. She was a homeless woman. How did she end up down in the lake? I mean, I know in that general area where all the clubs are at, and I know there's a lot of homeless camps everywhere. But she would have had no reason in the beginning of December to be down at the lake. What the fuck and why? So there's just a lot going on, and the police keep saying, they keep saying that there is No foul play, no suspect of foul play, no connections. Nothing is going on that's unusual. They're all just accidental drownings, blah, 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 blah. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You can't, at this point, you could not pay me enough money to believe that none of these are connected. No, you couldn't. So there's a lot of them. And I need to find the video. There's a video that I watched the other day. I need to see if I can track it down again. And it was a guy, just, wasn't a journalist or anything, a regular guy. And he was down on Rainy Street, where all these are happening, where all the clubs and stuff are at in Austin. And he was down on Rainy Street, and he was had a microphone, and he had a camera guy with him, and they were just stopping random people and saying, "Hey, do you think there's a serial killer in do you think there's a serial killer in to Austin, Texas?" And most of the people said, yeah. The reason why I bring this up is because when the police found out what he was doing, they arrested him for jaywalking. He wasn't jaywalking. He was standing on the sidewalk interviewing people, asking questions about a serial killer, trying to get information. And instead of numerous things that the police could have done, they arrested him for jaywalking, and the cameraman bailed him out. He still got to go to court for it because his video wasn't that long ago. And I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? Why, they're supposed to be, I don't know how many of y'all I've heard of the smiley face killer. I don't have a lot of information on that one myself, and it might do me some good to do some research in that, because supposedly there's connections between the smiley face killer and these here, but except for the smiley face. So that throws that off. But I kind of want to do some research on that now too, and see if I'm seeing any connections. And then there's also, I was mentioning this Wednesday that there's an area in Chicago. There's definitely something going on they don't want. Yeah, there is. There has to be. And again, I don't agree with why from a financial point of view, I get why they want to keep this hush hush. I do. I don't agree with it. The public deserves to know. But from a city manager's point of view, excuse me, from a city management point of view, I kind of get it. And while Jaws is not a good example movie, the way they treated that about, oh, no, we're going to open the beaches. We know there's been a death, but we're going to open the beaches and blah, blah, blah. And they hit it. They hit it. And then these people went swimming and they died. Okay, so this is kind of the same thing, but it's real life, which makes it obviously so much worse. So I want to find out more about the smiley face killers. I want to find out more about this. I also want to find out more about the ones in Chicago, because apparently, and I think I mentioned this Wednesday, there's an area in Chicago that's very similar to the area in Austin, with a lot of clubs and river and all that. And when there's been a graph done, when the Chicago deaths are up, the Austin deaths are down, and when the Chicago deaths are down, the Austin deaths rise. It's like a graph, like you can. And there's another one. I think there's another section of them that are happening in Washington State. So you've got Washington State. Oh yeah, so much worse than movies. That's what I'm saying. This makes it so much worse. I'm using Jaws as an example because I watched it again recently, and it blew my mind that the police chief knew there was a shark attack. He saw the body. He found the body. He wanted to close the beaches. The mayor said, no, we're not closing any damn beaches. 4th of July's coming up, and we need the revenue. And I kind of feel like Austin's doing something similar, which really makes it so much worse. There is some rumor, and I'm going to make this very, very clear, this is rumor that a lot of these men are part of the LGBTQ community. I don't know. And it's probably just speculation at this point because I have only seen one or two that look, and I don't want to put it that way. I have only seen one or two that might fit. I want to be really careful how I want to say this. I've only seen one or two that seem to possibly fit that. That don't mean that they are or they're not. It just, I don't know. I probably should leave that one alone. We'll just put a pin in that, leave that alone. But the only reason why I bring it up is because if that is what the problem is, then that might be why they're dying. You know what I'm saying? It could be hate crimes. Lord, I don't know. Thank you for the good comparisons. Let's see if we can get back to this video and watch a little bit more of this video. If I can do this without messing it up completely.
Water drowned, he would have never had a contusion on the back of his head.
I want to take just a moment to tell you about an amazing lip plumper and proud sponsor.
I don't want to hear about the damn lip plumper.
City Lips. It honestly has made my lips look 10 years younger.
Yeah.
As someone
Okay.
who's always on camera, City Lips has been a game changer. It's not like those painful lip plumpers
But,
that sting and burn. City Lips gives you fuller, healthier, younger.
Oh, lady, come
lips.
on.
I used it for 2 weeks, once in the morning and once at night. And let me tell you, I've noticed a huge difference. They even have a 60-day money-back guarantee, so why not try
We'll get past it.
Here's how it works. It uses clinically
See
tested
if I can get
ingredients
past it
like hyaluronic acid spheres,
without messing it up too
peptides,
much.
and soothing moisturizers for long. All were men, with the exception of one. The lake is near the Rainy Street Entertainment District and 6th Street,
Give it a
which is
minute.
lined with bars.
Should
Many of
focus.
the families of the people who lost their lives don't feel like they have all of the answers about how their loved ones died and why. Most were ruled accidental drownings. The men who drowned had alcohol in their systems.
Oh,
The
thank
bodies
you.
found in Lady Bird Lake have sparked fears that a serial killer is on the loose, targeting men. Facebook groups have cropped up where people discuss theories and fears. The feared serial killer has been dubbed the Rainy Street Ripper. Do you understand the fear there or the concern?
Sure, I think it's gripped the
Oh,
community.
police
Just
officer.
anytime
Officer.
that someone
Yay.
passes in or near a body of water,
See if I
and
can
it
get
seems
that
like
a little
it
clearer.
could potentially be from
Not with all my lighting. I
a
need
suspicious source.
ring
I can
lights
understand
and
why people might be a little concerned.
better
but,
laptop and
hopefully
I
it
don't
helps
know, a
assure
bunch of
people
crap.
that,
I'm working
like I
on
said,
it.
we make
I'm
sure
a-
that
I'm a-
detectives
I'm a-
look at every single part
I'm
of
an
this
old
case
lady
that
that
we
lives on
possibly can.
disability.
We
I'm
wanna
working
make
on
sure
it.
that this person wasn't hit over the head or wasn't, drugged at a bar and followed down to the water where they ended up falling in or were attacked or assaulted or anything like that. So we try to rule out as much as we possibly can. Obviously we all would wish that there was video all over the place to see exactly what happened as things unfolded, but we're left with the evidence at the end of the day, and we have to piece together all the actual physical evidence that we have.
He's a lying
And
sack
that
of shit.
were there any signs of trauma? Were there any signs of foul play? Like, do we believe a weapon was used? Did the body have any defects like stab wounds or bullet holes or anything like that? And then just reviewing that toxicology as well to see if there's any commonalities between any of the cases.
Austin Police Sergeant Nathan Sexton says he's certain the deaths are not the work of a serial killer.
Bullshit.
How can the Austin Police Department be so
Bullshit.
certain that there's nothing suspicious surrounding the deaths of the people who've ended up in Lady Bird Lake?
So just over the years, there's deaths that happen in and around the water. Sometimes they're shootings, sometimes they're drownings, sometimes there's other deaths. And they all
I know
kinda get
not
lumped in
everything
together a
that's
lot of the
happened
time,
has
but I
been a
think
serial
the
killer. There has
concern for
been
most
drownings.
people
There's
are
been a
the folks
couple
pulled from the
on
water
a
that appear to
livings.
have drowned. So in all these cases, we'll
There's
say
been
that
one
the
shooting,
actual homicide detective
but you
does
can't
need
tell me
to,
all these people
assess
are
the
accidentally
situation, to
drowning
assess the
in
scene,
December and February
to follow
when the
up
water's
with
like
the
20
medical examiner
degrees
to
and
check on toxicology, which could take 3
the
months to come
fucking
back.
lie.
So all of that is looked at in its totality to make sure, was there any trauma to this person's body? Do we think that they were drugged? Was there any signs of foul play?
And have there been signs of foul play with any of these victims?
He's
I read a story
about to
that
lie.
said that one victim may have been shot
Yeah, one
while
was.
driving and then ended up in the water?
Yep.
That was an actual murder, yes. So there was a victim that was driving along a road and was just happened to be hit by gunfire and crashed off of through a little cement barrier and ended up in the water. So that's what I was saying. Some of these kind of get lumped in as all kind of being the
Yeah,
same
out of
MO,
16,
that
it's
gentleman
three-
just happened to be
two,
driving
I
along
think
and was
3
hit
of them
by
total
gunfire
have
that
been
was
lumped in with the
involved by
16, but
other-
still, that
other
leaves
parties that were
13 people.
arguing with each other. So he was unfortunately kind of collateral damage in a shooting that was happening around him.
Sergeant Sexton says the deaths that have been labeled drownings were sad, unfortunate accidents, but
Bullshit.
that
Not
doesn't
with
mean that people
contusions.
believe that. There are fears that someone may be spiking drinks for nefarious purposes, but why?
No
I
shit.
was found at about 4:30 in the morning at the bottom of a ravine. Actually, was right next to a river that would lead to Lady Bird Lake.
Jeff Jones was in Austin for a bachelor party in June of 2023 when someone found him in a creek under a bridge. Did you physically end up in the water and somebody found you? I mean, do you know what happened to you from what you've been told, or?
Yes, it's mainly from what I've been told through the reports. My sister came down and was there the whole time, as well as a few other of my relatives, and they were taking notes and kind of trying to explain to me what was going on. But that is an odd twist to it as well. I was found right next to the creek where another individual a few years back also was found there. Unfortunately, he had passed away. But that leads right to Lady Bird Lake, and I was found at about 4:30 in the morning after disappearing from the group at around 1. So it is a strange amount of time that and then it was just kind of an innocent bystander who had found me and reported it anonymously. So it would be interesting to find out a little bit more about that person. I always thought it was kind of odd that why did they see me at the bottom of a creek and bed, in the middle of the night randomly? I had no idea what had happened because my recollection faded away while we were still at dinner. So to me, I woke up about a week and a half into it. They took me they had me in an induced coma. And I had no idea where I was or what had happened. And I had a bunch of staples all over my body. And it was quite a harrowing experience, I would say, at that point. It took me a few days to really even understand what was going on. And then they also had done a toxicology screen, and they did find rufalin in my system. And there was no other substances outside of that.
Jones shared the drug screen results with me. It shows a presumptive positive result for benzodiazepines, a drug the DEA says can produce sedation and hypnosis. These drugs are used to treat seizures, anxiety, and muscle spasms.
There's no way to really know because I don't have, unfortunately, any memory of the actual event.
That's a shame.
But yeah, somebody had drugged me and either tried to rob me or, maybe it was part of whatever this murdering situation is. We're not really sure, but obviously something had happened. And it seemed odd too that a few of the other guys in our group also had gone home with, abnormally high levels of confusion and more than just typical intoxication.
Jeff Jones never filed a police report, but interestingly enough, after Jones spoke with me and we put in a records request for the run related to his fall from the bridge on 6th Street, Austin police wrote a report on May 16th of this year. The officer documented what he saw when he responded to the 911 call. The report says, the complainant stated he was suddenly awoken by a loud crash and observed that a male had fallen off the south side of the bridge.
Jesus.
It goes on to say, the incident appeared accidental in nature. Therefore, we titled the incident Assist EMS. The rest of the report is heavily redacted with portions blacked out. It categorized the incident as a, quote, fall. An Austin police detective told me they had the report written to document the incident since Jones started speaking about it publicly, so they felt it should be documented.
Damn it. Shut up for a minute. Anyway, so that was just another example. He had been drugged. He doesn't remember half of what happened to him. He really doesn't remember half of it, but he survived it. And there's a lot of people that are turning up like that. I mean, not alive, obviously, but there's people, and they're telling you they're saying there's no connection. I'm sorry, but and like I said, so if there was 16, there was 2 unalived and 1 shot. So that's 13 people. Let's just work on the 13. All right. 13 people in 2.5 years. They were all down partying around the same time, except for the homeless woman. We don't know what her habits were. I don't think she was partying on Rainy Street. It's not likely. But I mean, we don't know what she was doing. I don't think it's likely or it's possible. Not possible, not plausible that she was hanging out on Rainy Street. I have my oldest daughter is 28, and her boyfriend Brett is 28, and she lives in Austin. She doesn't live that close to Rainy Street. I would say it's probably a 30-minute drive from her house. Maybe not that far. I don't know. I don't know Austin that well. I've usually lived around the Austin area, but not in Austin. She lives in Austin. And I was talking to her. Her and I were talking. Matter of fact, it was her that brought this to my attention. She's the one that told me about the deaths at Lady Bird Lake. She said, "Well, this was right after I started doing this YouTube stuff." She said, Mom, what you need to do is you need to get on there and talk about the Lady Bird Lake serial killer." And I said, "The who? the what?" And she's the one that kind of got me started on this. But I was talking to her about it the other day because she used to hang out at 6th Street. When she was single, her and her friends would go out, girls' night out, 6th Street. That's a big partying area. There's a bunch across streets, 6th Street, 7th Street, whatever. But Rainy Street's the main drag. Anyway, she was talking about it, and I said, "You don't hang out at 6th Street, do you?" And she said, "Not anymore." And I said, "What about the Rainy Street area?" And she said, "If you're a smart person and you've lived in Austin for a little bit, you don't go there. You don't go there." Now, the odd thing is, when I did move to Austin with my ex, the one I mentioned Wednesday. I remember one of the things he said to me when we moved down here. I said I had heard a lot of rumors when I first moved down here 13 years ago about the partying on 6th Street and the bars and stuff, and I wanted to go see 6th Street. And this is what I'll never forget this. He said, "I'll take you to 6th Street. We'll go one time. We're only going to have 2 or 3 drinks, and I'm going to watch your drink, and you're going to watch mine. We're going to take care of each other's drinks." He said, "We're only going to go the one time. We'll never do it again, and we're going to babysit each other. Couple drinks, we'll do a little bit of sightseeing down there, and then we're going home." He said, "You don't want to party on 6th Street. You just don't want to." And I asked him why then. And he said, "Well, let's just say there's a lot of bad stuff that happens." And he let it go. Now, this was when I first was married to him, and I didn't know what kind of person he was. But I do remember that conversation with him, and when my oldest grew up and she moved out, she moved to Austin, like a lot of young people do when they live in the surrounding areas, the smaller towns around Austin. Almost everybody in their late teens, early 20s, they moved to Austin. It's just a thing. So she moved to Austin like a lot of people do, and she started hanging out down there, and she started partying down there. And she quit doing it. She said, "I've only been down here a few times, but it's getting kind of rough down here." And that's all she said about it. I don't think she wanted to worry me, of course. I mean, she's a very honest kid, and she's always been very forthcoming, and she tells me almost everything. But I know that certain stuff she is careful what she says or how she words it because she doesn't want to get me worried, you know. Um, but she's the one that got me started on doing this. She's the one that suggested I cover this case. And even back when she first decided I cover it, I had just started doing the Watts stuff, and I was trying to get my footing, and I was trying to understand how this worked and all that. Because I just kind of jumped in both feet and said, here I am. But she's kind of was the one that got it started in my head, and then I was doing a lot of the Chris Watts stuff, and trying to figure out how I wanted to do my videos and what I wanted to talk about. And there were so many cases people were asking me to talk about. And I kind of had put this on the back burner and I forgot about it. Well, then she brought it up again recently. That's when we were talking about Rainy Street. She goes, "Oh no, I don't hang out at Rainy Street. If you live in Austin and you're smart." Now, she's not saying that everybody hangs out down there stupid, but there's just been so much happening down there. She said, if you're a smart person, you just typically try to avoid Rainy Street and all that down there. She said it's not a good area, and that's all she said about it. So it kind of tells me that the people around town know something. You know what I'm saying? It gives me the feeling that there's a vibe, just a general vibe all around town. Avoid Rainy Street, you know, stay away from that part. Now, there's going to be tourists that are going to go there. Like when I first moved to Austin, I wasn't a tourist, but I was new to Texas. I was new to Austin. So I wanted to go to 6th Street. I wanted to see all the bars and the clubs down there. As a matter of fact, and this is kind of off topic, but we'll get back on it. The two guys from Supernatural, I can't, Sam and Dean are their characters' names, but I can't remember. They're Jensen Ackles, and that's the one that played Dean, and then the Jared something or other plays Sam. The two guys from Supernatural, they own a bar down there. Or they used to. I don't know if they still do. They own a bar down there off of 6th Street. And I wanted my daughter to take me there. I'm like, please. I want, because they would stop by and they would give autographs and stuff and buy drinks for people. And I was like, cool, I want to go. I haven't gone and I don't even know if it's still open. The last I heard it was closed. But back to topic. So there's just a lot of people. I mean, my daughter hasn't even lived down there. Let's see, we've been in Texas 13 years. So she's been in the Austin area 7 years, 8 years. She's been down there long enough. Yeah, because she was 19 when she moved there and she's 28 now. So she's been down there long enough to know there's just certain bars you don't go to or certain groups you don't go to, certain places you just don't hang out at, especially now in her case, it's been especially if you're a woman, but apparently these people that are dying down here are men. And most of them are in their late 20s, 30s, mid 30s, somewhere in that group. I would say between 25 and 35 seems to be the average age. There's been a few that's been a little bit younger and a few that's been a little bit older, but it seems that the average age has been 25 to 35. It seems the majority of them have been Hispanic. I have played with the thought, is there actually is. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I saw the Amber's post on her group chat today. I saw that. That's the post, the group I was talking about, where she cut off the thread because they didn't believe the thing about Nicole being in prison. I don't know. But anyway, so the vibe I get from my daughter, and like I said, I know she tells me a lot. I mean, the kid tells me almost everything, but I know there's things she doesn't tell her mom because I am her mom. But it's the feeling I got from her was she knows you just don't go to certain places. You just don't do it. Let me see if we can get a few more minutes into this video before we wrap up tonight. And I'll keep working on StreamYard to see if I can figure out how to. I've got my videos downloaded. Now I got to find the files and upload them into StreamYard. I've got to learn how to do that. I'll figure it out. You just got to be patient with me.
I've requested an unredacted copy of the report along with the 911 call. At the time of this recording, that second request has not yet been fulfilled, but stay tuned. Do you guys have any reason to believe there was anything suspicious surrounding the incident involving Jeff Jones?
No. And I from what I had heard, he just had no recollection of the events of that night. But the officers that had responded out there found him at the bottom of to find him on the ground. So again, without like video or anything definitive to show that there was any foul play, everything pointed to the fact that he had just fallen.
The fact that Jeff Jones ended up in the hospital still shocks him a year later. He still has a lot of questions and doesn't know who may have placed something in his drink.
It was definitely quite a revelation. I mean, I had never really contemplated my own mortality at all. I'm in my mid-30s, so it's not even something you think about, really. We had actually heard about it.
I said 20 35 is what I'm taking.
6 or 7 of us on a flight down from Boston together on Thursday, and we had heard of the disappearances of people, and we were kind of joking with one another. Oh, watch out for the serial killer in Austin. And, you know, to wake up and then realize that, you know, it could have actually been a target of somebody in that exact situation we were laughing about was definitely a shock. Yeah, I mean, I had heard about it, but I obviously did a lot more research afterwards, started realizing that I fit the profile of, you know, a 20 or 30 something male who've been disappearing at an increasing rate over the past few years in Austin. So it's really unfortunate. And I don't know that I believe that it's really a serial killer, but I do think that the drug is that, you know, these drugs that can knock you out are very prevalent and easily available for people down there. And if you want to take advantage of someone, it's a great way to do it. That you completely incapacitate someone within an hour or so. So I think that may be the real issue, is just that drug is kind of running rampant around major cities.
Drugging of drinks has been a problem in major cities for years. In response to concerns over drugging drinks in Austin, the city has launched the Sip Safely program. They did that in April. The city's website includes advice like never leave your drink unattended.
No shit.
Watch your drink being poured. Be cautious about taking a drink from someone you don't know. And use a drink cover and watch for others in your party. One Austin City Council member pushed for the program, citing what's been going on at the bars in Austin for years.
We have seen instances where there was a KXAN article in 2019 where physicians have noted an increase of ER patients coming in from downtown bars who display unusual non-alcoholic related symptoms. When asked if the cause was from druggings, the physicians have often said, yes, I think it's definitely possible.
The city also stationed EMTs along Rainy Street as part of a pilot program. An Austin Travis County spokesperson told me that EMTs had actually stopped several people leaving bars from wandering toward the water. Now the city is looking at whether that program should be implemented full time, but it all comes down to money and the city budget.
Bullshit.
Despite the pilot programs designed to keep people safe, so many questions remain about how and why these men have ended up in the water.
We can't explain why it seems to be mostly men, but I can say that from the Austin Homicide Unit that we look into every possible aspect that we can in all these cases, and nothing has led us to believe that there is any sort of killer, especially serial killer, at play here.
Meanwhile, Jeff Jones still has questions about what's going on in the bar district in Austin and what happened to him.
Yeah, I think it's something that really needs to be addressed at this point. I mean, with the fact that you have this many people disappearing in your city, whether it's a serial killer or not, I feel like that's not good for tourism. And you would think that they would want to eradicate that issue sooner than later. It's crazy. But yeah, hopefully, you know, me having these conversations can get some awareness and at least help people be a little more safe when they're down there, and in a few other cities around the country which seem to have kind of similar issues going on.
Thankfully, Jones lived to tell his story, although he has some lingering effects from falling 24 feet off that bridge.
I'm still on some pain meds. I luckily have gotten off of most of them. It was pretty intense at first, but I do have 2 very large rods in my back connecting.
Holy shit!
Well, actually 4 rods in 2 places in my back connecting the spinal cord, the areas that were damaged, and those are actually supposed to come out this summer. Shockingly enough, they aren't permanent. But I still can function fairly normally with it. It is a little painful sometimes, certain activities, but really I'm pretty lucky. And I also did have a puncture wound. A branch went through my elbow. My left elbow,
Ouch.
and I've lost some range of motion there as well, which I'm in physical therapy for. But yeah, overall, it hasn't negatively affected my life, which is really lucky.
But no one has more questions than the loved ones of the families whose brothers and sons are never coming home. Mitch Gutierrez feels like he still doesn't know what happened to his brother Martin.
That kid was the salt of the earth, and he deserved better. He is not a person that should have been pushed aside. He's a better person than that. He deserved better. And all those other people
He
that died
sounds
too
like he's
deserve
about to
better than
cry.
that. And the city didn't do. They didn't do anything. They just said it was accidental. It's not fair. He's too good of a person. All these people were too good to just be thrown to the side, and nothing's been done. And the city needs to do something, and they need to do it faster because people will continue to go missing.
Will these families ever find out what happened to their loved ones? Were they all drugged, or were some intoxicated and sadly just ended up walking into the lake? They may never get the answers they need or want, but they say they'll continue to push for answers. So what do you say to the public out there who's got this legitimate concern about people ending up in the water?
I think whenever people are out, especially in the bar districts, hopefully people.
He can shut up. I don't trust him. Okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, or the first guy, the Ford Sanders, the journalist, he said that they're calling it an accidental death within a few hours of finding the bodies. They're not even spending any time on these. They're just saying, "Oh, yeah, it's an accidental death. Move on." I don't think so. And yes, happy heavenly birthday to Shanann. But no, they're like he said, the Austin police are almost immediately, within just a few hours, without doing any investigating, without doing anything. Boy, they're just saying, nope, no connection. They're all accidents. Move on, people. There is something going on. And I feel like I want to prove it. I feel like that with y'all's help, we can prove this. I want to find out what it is. I want to put a stop to it. I know personally I can't do it, but I figure, you know what, we can try. So I've got to get better at what I'm doing so that I can provide more information. Like I said, I've got that one email to that journalist. Excuse me. I'm waiting to get a hold of him. If he does, I don't hear from him on Monday. I'm getting another one out. I've got a couple of the people I'm trying to get a hold of. That one guy that was being interviewed, I'd kind of like to talk to him, the survivor. I have a lot of work in front of me if I'm going to do anything about this. When we talk about old cases like Shanann Watts and Madeline McCain and all the other Sebastian Rogers and all that, those cases are very, very sad and they're heartbreaking. And I would like to see them. Well, Chris Watts is kind of solved. Nikki's still out there running around, maybe, probably out there running around somewhere doing whatnot to somebody's family. And we still know what happened to Sebastian Rogers or Madeline McCain and other people like that. Summer, can't remember that little girl's name. I'm sorry. But on this particular case, this happening here in Austin, there's already been a bunch of people that died. And if we don't figure this out, there's going to be a bunch more. There's something weird going on. There's been a lot of input tonight on that. There's been a lot of input on it being a serial killer. I think it's a serial killer. I do. I think it's a serial killer. I have an eyelash. I think it's a serial killer. I don't know if he's luring people if they're getting lured down to the lake and killing them there. I don't know if they're dying somewhere else and getting dumped in the lake off that bridge. I don't know, obviously, but there's something going on. I want to get to the bottom of it, and I want y'all's help. I want y'all to help me get to the bottom of it. I really would like to figure this out. Before we wrap up, I'm going to pull up one more picture. And I don't mind using this one picture because it's also in the GoFundMe picture. It's the GoFundMe picture, but I'm going to pull this up real quick. If I could use my brain for just a minute. Gallery. Aha. See if I can get that in. You can't really see that well, I realize. This is my daughter. She's 28. This is my boyfriend, my boyfriend. That's her boyfriend, Brett. He's also 28. He's in the same age range. I'd say 25 to 35 has been the average. Now, they don't go out drinking a lot. They stay home a lot, thank goodness. I think he was basically a homebody before he met her anyway. She's become more of a homebody since they met, since they've been dating. This could be him. This could be him. Or I got another picture. Let's see if I can fix that so it's not so covered up with all my other pictures. There we go. It's my daughter and her boyfriend, Brett. They're both 28 years old. They both live in Austin. And like I said, they don't party a lot. They stay home a lot, thank goodness. And he's not Hispanic, but they've not all been Hispanic either. These are the people. This is an example of the people that are partying down. Now, my daughter doesn't hang out in that area. We've already talked about it. And like I said, they don't party anymore, really, anyway. But that's an example, what you see, of the type of people you see when you go into Austin and you go down Rainy Street, 6th Street, got all those little clubs down there. I'm going to get a picture, a good picture of a map of that area. I also want to find that video. I did a Google Maps of that area, trying to figure out the path they would have to take. But there's also a video that's very similar to what I'm talking about that I did on my own. I need to find those videos. I need to find some pictures. I want to show you all the terrain, the area, the terrain you have to go through to get to Lady Bird Lake from these clubs. You got these clubs up here, and then you got the streets. You got to get off the streets and da-da-da-da-da. And then you got another path, and then you got all these trees and shrubbery and shit, and then you got the lake. The effort it would take for a sober person to walk from Rainy Street, blocks down, then another probably half mile down this dirt road to get to the area where these bodies are being found. That trek would be hard for a sober person. Thank you. I appreciate that. She's very pretty, and she's my baby girl, And Brett seems like he's a really good kid. That's the one I met over Thanksgiving. Oh, and just a quick side note, on her GoFundMe for her thyroid tumor, we've raised $500 towards sonograms to help monitor her tumor. So that's been good. I appreciate that. And the goal was 1,000. So, because she's got to have so many sonograms every few months to monitor that. So That's the side note. We're back on this. But that was just an example of the type of kids or people. I call them kids because I'm 60. So, yeah, they're kids to me. The type of kids you're seeing run around down Rainy Street. Now, like I said, he's not likely to be one of them because they don't hang out there. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at somebody out there that I think is killing men. That's just my personal opinion. I've got a lot more videos to dig up. I got pictures to dig up. Wednesday, of course, will be a Watch Wednesday, and we're going to start. I think we're going to start. I've decided I think I'm going to go back to when they first met on Facebook. If anybody thinks that's too far back and they think I should pick another area, let me know in the comments on anything. I mean, I read my comments. I used to respond all the time, or I tried to, but for a while there, they were getting kind of rough. So I felt it was better in some cases that I didn't respond because I would have said something I would have regretted later. So I know that me personally, that my temperament, I know sometimes it's better for me to just shut my mouth and move on. And see, that's another problem with being on social media, whether it's me or Amber or Kel or whoever, Zwokey. It's hard sometimes to read the comments, especially when they're hateful, and ignore them. It's hard to not take them personal. So for my personality, I'm better off sometimes. And if I've said something and that's hurt somebody's feelings and they come at me in self-defense, that's fine. That is perfectly acceptable. They come at me on a more personal level and they say hateful things to me about my family. And my family has nothing to do with this. When people come after my kids or something in the comments, that's when I'm better off to just shut my mouth and move on. Because I'm going to get myself in trouble. But back to what I was saying, when I brought up their pictures, I did that for a reason. They look like the average couple you would see down there. Right up there, because I'm down south. I'm down here by the beach. So that's just what we're looking for. And like I said, the police are blowing this off really quick. They're, without really investigating anything, they're almost immediately saying, no connections. These are accidental drownings, blah, blah, blah. I don't engage with crazy people. I'm learning my lessons on that one. Because when I first started doing this, I tried to engage with everybody, even the crazy ones. It was like, oh, I would try to make a little joke about their comments or something, trying to blow it off and make light of it. And it gets to you after a while. So I've just learned I don't respond as much. If I see a compliment or somebody asks me a question, I'll try very hard to respond to it. And I don't catch all the comments that come through. I don't. I don't. Because for a while there, I had my notifications turned off. I think I still do. But I do go through and I go through the YouTube studio and I do check my comments and stuff and I answer questions and stuff. Or I thank people for their compliments or whatever it is. And like I said, if I've said something that upsetting, that's fine. And you're mad at me, that's fine. You can be mad at me all the fuck you want to be mad at me. But don't come after my kids, my family. They have nothing to do with my big mouth. And most of the time when I'm saying something negative, it's not usually about the person. It's not about the person. It's about something I saw, but it's not about the person. I would appreciate if people didn't attack me. If you do, you do, but whatever. But I digress. So I would like to keep doing this on Friday nights. The Rainy Street Ripper, the Lady Bird Lake Mysteries, whatever you want to call it. Um, I would like to keep doing this. I think there's once I start figuring out more on how to work StreamYard and all the things I'm trying to learn how to do, because I made up my mind that this year, this is my year. I'm going to learn how to do YouTube better. I might get back. I might not get back in TikTok. It's supposed to be banned. I have an account on TikTok and I have over 1,000 followers, but I've been locked out of my account and I can't get back in and I don't know what else to do. Everybody keeps saying, well, start a new account. Well, I have 1,000 followers. I didn't get those overnight. I don't want to have to work that hard to get another 1,000 followers. But what I was saying was, and I lost my train of thought. God damn it. I'm getting old. Back to the Rainy Street thing. So I want to keep doing this on Friday nights. I want to keep working on this case. We might occasionally go do something else. Like I know the Darlene, you're so much help usually. You don't know what I'm thinking though. The brothers. Lyle, the Menendez brothers. I know they got something coming up. I know they got another court thing coming up. I kind of want to keep an eye on them too. And I keep an eye on other stuff. I try not to go too deep into the Gypsy Rose stuff because I have to be honest. I find it boring anymore. I mean, when she first got out of prison, I had her back. I'm like, no, she's been through hell. She's been abused. She's out now. Let's give her a chance. We did. We gave her a chance, and she fucked it up. So I don't do too much on the Gypsy Rose thing because it seems to be one great big ball of crap after another one. I got tired of defending her. I tried, but she doesn't do anything to earn defense. The Lyle and Eric Menendez, because they have done so much while they are in prison, and because they've worked really hard in prison to change not only their life, but they've worked on changing other people's lives. I kind of want to keep an eye on them. When new things come up on these older cases, I do talk about them too. So we're probably not going to be doing the Rainy Street Ripper every Friday night because stuff will come up and I'll want to cover it. But for the most part, I think we're going to stick with this. I do. I'm just glad that my kid doesn't go down there, but I kind of wish nobody did, but people are going to. It's a popular area. It's a party place, and Austin is known for their live music. If nothing else, Austin's known for live music. I mean, one of the nicknames, like I said earlier, is the live music capital. So we got that. You have sat through almost every single live stream with me, and I have some nights where I seem to be completely on the ball and I've got all my shit together. And then I have nights where it doesn't take much. It takes a butterfly to fly by or something, and my brain's gone. I'm like, oh, look, there goes something pretty. So like you were about to tell me Menendez brothers. Yeah, because I know you keep track of me. Thank you. I need friends that keep track of me because I can make jokes about being 60, and that might be part of it. As you get older, your memory starts to go and stuff. But I feel like sometimes I'm just distracted so easily. Like sometimes it's not too bad. Like I said, sometimes I can sit here and do I can do an hour and a half, 2 hours live stream, and I'm fine. And then there's days like tonight was an example of, oh, look, there's a butterfly, So I don't know if that's just my age or if that's we all go through periods of like that. But tonight I've been easily distracted. I just got to get better at all this. But what I was saying is this is my year. I'm going to work on getting better at my YouTube, my Instagram, my all the social media things. I want to get better at learning the applications, the equipment, investing in some stuff like ring lights and a better laptop eventually and things like that. But I also want to work on me. I want to work on making this go away. I can't afford a facelift, but we'll see. I want to work on losing weight, making some of this go away. Maybe learn how to do makeup better so I can hide it or something. Shit, I don't know. But yeah, I want to work on me this year. But I also, while I'm working on me and getting better at my social media, I also want to get better at. I want to look better. I want to take better care of myself. I want to look better. So this is my year that I've made up my mind. 2025. This is what I'm doing. So you'll start to see improvements gradually. In, like I said, cameras and ring lights and just learning how to use some of the shit that I already have, and we'll get better at this. And with everybody's help, I know there's people out there that love me. A little bit of help, we'll maybe somebody will speak up and say, you know what, Robin, I think you need to do this, this, and this, and that will help you out some. And I'll be like, yay, cool, thanks. So maybe somebody will speak up and go, hey, I can help you do this. I'm sure there's people out there that know how to do it. I know there is. They've got their own channels. But if nobody steps up, thank you, Paula. If nobody steps up, I'll figure it out. I would like to see my channel grow. I'm normal. I don't want to sit here at 453 subscribers or whatever it is. I'd like to at least hit 500. Shit, I was hoping I'd be at 500 by the first year, but that didn't happen. But no, I think we're going to work on this Rainy Street thing a lot because I think there's a lot to learn from it. And I think there's an interesting case there. And for me, it's home. I mean, I don't live in Austin, but my kid does. And I have lived in Austin or in surrounding areas. I'm now actually closer to Corpus, which is fine. And I'm sure there's crazy shit in Corpus too. But there's not a killer running around Corpus dumping bodies off a bridge or whatever the fuck's going on down there. So I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. The video quality wasn't what I was looking for. Like I said, I did the StreamYard thing earlier. Now I got to figure out how to use it all. But we got the gist. We got to see a video. We got an interview. Really, that guy that I keep mentioning, that Ford Sanders, I think if I can get him to respond to me, I think we'll be off and running on the information. I think if he'll let me talk to him for a few minutes, he'll help. And there's a couple other people involved in this case. So Wednesday coming up, we'll be going back in the Wayback Machine to back when Shanann first met Chris on Facebook, because I feel like that there's things that, as I've said before, I think going back is going to help some, because we might discover something new, or we might discover something that we've heard, but it's been a long time since we've heard it. And it might make us go, oh, yeah, that's right. Because I learn things all the time that way. I'm like, oh, crap, yeah, that's right. I heard this before. But I have to think about it. So I think we're going to go back to when they first met. That'll be Wednesday. And yeah, next Friday will be the Rainy Street Ripper, Lady Bird Lake Killer, whatever. I'm also going to do a little bit of a dive into the smiley face killers because supposedly these are similar. All right. So I appreciate everybody that came by tonight. Not quite as many as I had Wednesday, but almost. And there's always the replay crew. It'll get caught later. But I appreciate everybody coming by tonight. I love you all for coming by. I appreciate everybody that comes in, sits down, watches this. I appreciate the people that comment, that give me crap about using Jaws as an example. Sharks. I appreciate everybody that says something. I appreciate the compliments. I like having Mama's family. That's what we are. We're Mama's family because it's Texas Beach Mama or Mama Robin. So if you are a member, if I get to a point where I can actually start selling or start asking for a membership, we'll be Mama's family. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for coming by. I think we're going to start doing the 9 o'clock ones instead of 10 o'clock because it's only 10:30 now and I've been talking for an hour and a half. So not too bad. I think we'll start doing 9 o'clock on Friday nights instead of 10 o'clock. Y'all be beautiful, be blessed. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Be glad you're not in California. So that's a quick mention. If you have any family, friends, anybody in California, around the LA area, my heart goes out to you. Prayers go out. The firefighters. So there's a lot going on there. I've heard some really snide comments from people like, well, they're rich. They can afford to buy more houses. Dude, it's not about the houses. Jesus Christ. Why are we being so mean? It's about people, their lives, their livelihood, pictures, memories. Yes, I've seen her recently. I've actually ran into her channel recently. I've been watching some of her stuff. I think she's very, very, very good at what she does. And like I said, if I could be half as good, I did see that. I didn't watch the video, but I saw the thing on it because I think see. I can't even talk anymore tonight. I haven't watched the video, but I saw it because I'm subscribed to her. So I saw that pop up. I need to watch it. Probably not tonight. I'll probably watch it sometime this weekend. I think she does a great job. I think there's a lot of. Here's something I've said before, and I want to reiterate. If I say something about another channel, it's usually not about them as a person. It's about something I saw in a video that I didn't agree with because it's my opinion. And I'm going to speak my opinion. But it's not about the person. It's never about the person. I'm never angry at the person. The only person that's ever made videos that I absolutely cannot stand, I can't remember her name now. She's really hateful. Like, she's hateful mean. I've mentioned her in like one of my earlier videos. Matter of fact, that's kind of how I got my start, was talking about her. But most of the YouTubers or content creators that I see are very good content creators. And they're probably very good people. I'm not even arguing. Like I said, I don't pick on people. There's things that come up that I disagree with. I say so. It's me giving my opinion. But that's all I'm doing. I'm not attacking the person. I'm just mentioning something that they said in a video that I disagree with. Okay. With that being said, I really think more content creators should work together. instead of squabbling over, well, I have 50,000 viewers and I only have 40,000 or whatever, instead of squabbling about stupid shit like that, there's plenty of people to go around to watch YouTube there's plenty of people. I know for an absolute fact that the majority of my subscribers probably watch 10 other people. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean they're going to stop watching me. They like me and 10 other people. So I think YouTubers, content creators, whatever you want to call them, would do better to work together and support each other than to not. And saying that I've learned some things too. So as I say this, I'm admitting that I've been wrong, and I am saying that I should learn from my own mistakes. Okay. With that being said, I don't think we should be squabbling over content or viewers or whatever, because I see people that subscribe to me that subscribe to ATS, What's the Exception, Zawoki, unapologetically me true crime. I know there's people that subscribe to me and 10, 15 other people. There's plenty of people to go around, So this is just kind of a thing I'm saying to like everybody out there that does the same thing. I think we should support each other more. If I disagree with you, I disagree with you. It's not personal against you. I disagree with something you said. You might disagree with something I said, and that's perfectly fine. That's fine. That's why it's called a discussion. Duh. So I think we would be better off if we could learn how to. I don't want to use the cliche we all can get along, but y'all know where I'm going with this. So with that being said, yes, I have said things about some things that I didn't agree with. And I will always have things I don't agree with. I don't agree with what's her face's explosion theory. I think that's stupid theory. I don't agree with the family dynamics thing. I don't think family dynamics played that big a role in Shanann's death. I just don't. But regardless, that doesn't mean I don't like Kelly. It doesn't mean that I don't like Amber. It's not about the person. I don't agree with some things, and they're not going to agree with things I've said. Simple. I think all I'm trying to say is, instead of squabbling, I think we would do better to work together. I mean, we're not going to. I don't see anybody really working. There's a few cliques where people fall into cliques, and they kind of work together. I don't fall into those cliques. I haven't fallen. I don't think I'll ever fall into a clique. Not that I wouldn't work with those people. I'm just not like most of them. But I think there's plenty of people watching YouTube to go around. I know they don't watch just me. I know there's a bunch of other people you all watch. So I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure how it's coming out. So I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to shut my big mouth. I'm going to move on. I am going to watch that video of hers, though. I subscribed to her. I saw it pop up today. A lot of her videos I've watched have been very interesting. I will probably watch it sooner over the weekend. So I guess I will see some of you, all of you, part of you, Wednesday. We're going to go back to when her and Chris first met on Facebook. Unless people have a suggestion, they think that's too far back, or they think a different time period would be better, let me know in the comments. And then next Friday, we'll be back to talk about this, unless something interesting happens with another crime like Menendez or something, because I know they got a court thing coming up. Anyway, everybody, I'm done rambling. I went off topic severely. Have a beautiful and blessed evening. My heart goes out to California. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. Be good to each other. Make good decisions. I think I've covered my outro even. So everybody have a great night. I love y'all. Thank you for popping in.